Hare Krishna. How uncritical we are about our mind is incredible. Suppose there are two people, say A and B, and this A goes to buy something based on the recommendation of B, and that product turns out to be third class. Now A will be angry, and then A will not. Next time B recommends something, A will be a little suspicious, will be at least hesitant. No, I can't. This B can't be trusted so well. Now, if this happens twice, thrice, 4 times, 5 times, if repeatedly B keeps making suggestions which actually are deceptions, which don't live up to their promise, rather instead of giving pleasure they give trouble, then A will decide, I am not going to listen to B's suggestions. So naturally, when our expectations are thwarted, we become more critical, we become more suspicious, and that is a sign of intelligence. Unfortunately, however, this kind of criticality and suspicion hardly ever comes in our interaction with our mind. Now, our mind is inside us and it's constantly telling us, why don't you eat this? Why don't you watch this? Why don't you touch this? It is prompting us towards so many things, and is promising us pleasure in those things. If you do this, this is so good, this will be so enjoyable. And actually when we go out and enjoy those things, there is some pleasure, but it is nowhere near what is promised by the mind. And quite often after that pleasure there is trouble. So there is a little pleasure followed by trouble. Dukkhayo evate, as Krishna says in 5.22 in the Bhagavad Gita, that there is adyantavantah kaunteya, there is some pleasure, but it has a beginning, it has an end. And after that pleasure ends, it is not just a normal state that we come to, we go down to a state of distress because the consequences of that indulgence come upon us. So how do we deal with these consequences? What do? We actually need to purify ourselves. We need to recognize that our gullibility, our tendency to believe our mind comes from multiple reasons. One is its proximity. It is just so close to us that we just naturally think about, we just identify with so naturally, so instinctively, so unthinkingly, just act on its suggestions without even evaluating them. So that proximity is a problem, but much bigger problem than the proximity of the mind. The mind is inside us, and that's why we think of its ideas as our ideas. But along with that, there is also our own affinity to it. We are attached to the mind. So we need to become attached to Krishna, and we need to make our mind attached to Krishna. He is the supremely trustworthy guide. When He guides us, He will provide us immense fulfillment. Following Him won't lead to frustration, it will lead to fulfillment. And if we long for fulfillment, then we need to march ahead in our life, in trying to come closer to Krishna. So the more we hear Krishna's words from the Bhagavad Gita, the more we chant His names, the more we pray to Him, the more we worship Him, the more we serve Him through practical contributions in this world. By all this, Krishna's presence in our hearts will become more and more evident to us. His voice will become clearer and clearer to us. And when His voice becomes clearer, then we will be able to say no to the mind. Krishna talks about this in 6.6 and 7 in the Bhagavad Gita. He says for 6.6 that Bandhuratmatmanastasya yenatmaivatmana jitah anatmanastu shatrutve vartetatmaiva shatruvat. So he says that the mind can be our friend if it is controlled, but it can be a deadly enemy if it is uncontrolled. And the next verse he says, what is the process for controlling the mind? 6.7 states, Jitatmanah prashantasya paramatma samahitaha shitoshni sukha dukkheshu tathamanapamanayo. That Paramatma samahitaha. When we come close to the Paramatma, Jitatmanaha, the mind will become conquered. And then when the mind says, hey, this is enjoyable, go here, this is miserable, don't go there. we won't get allured by it. We'll stay fixed, we'll stay focused, we'll stay connected and absorbed in Krishna. So our uncriticality towards our mind is incredible, but still we need to develop criticality, and that we can develop through our spirituality, through our devotional connectedness with Krishna. Thank you. Hare Krishna.